Alright, are you ready for this? In Arizona versus Johnson, 555 U.S. 232, 2009. The Supreme Court held that during a lawful traffic stop, all passengers are seized from the moment of the car and stopped by the police. The court stated passengers to remain in the car and allow them to get out of the car, otherwise blah, blah, blah. However, also advises... there we go. Terry stop.
What's going on, guys? It's Early Product News. The video that I'm going to break down today comes from my man over at Southwest Florida Accountability News. He knew his rights. He didn't take a step back. He held his ground. And the deputy, this is happening in Fort Myers, Lee County, Florida. The deputy comes back with a book and starts reading case law of Arizona versus Johnson. And when we're done, we'll do an honest, unbiased breakdown of Arizona versus Johnson and what it entails regarding the Fourth Amendment and traffic stops. But first, cue the music!
Alright, are you ready for this? In Arizona versus Johnson, 555 U.S. 232, 2009. The Supreme Court held that during a lawful traffic stop, all passengers are seized from the moment of the car and stopped by the police. The court stated that the temporary seizure of the driver and passengers ordinarily continues and remains reasonable for the duration of the stop. The court also found that during a traffic stop, passengers are not free to terminate their encounter with police and cannot leave the scene of the traffic stop.
So what he's reading is Arizona versus Johnson, the part where officers have the right to restrict movements to everybody in the car during a traffic infraction. But that's not what he's looking for. He's looking for his ability to ID the passenger.
It's up to the discretion of the officer to allow any passengers to remain in the car and allow them to get out of the car, otherwise blah, blah, blah. However, also advises... there we go. Terry stop. Are you recording me right now?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask my permission to record me?
I don't need to. The Supreme Court has ruled that we have the right to record interactions with every police officer.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, why are you so angry with me?
I'm sorry?
Why are you angry with me?
I'm not angry.
Okay.
I know the law. I'm a civil rights activist, and I know that the Florida statute states that you have to be suspected of a crime in order to ID.
Yeah, but the part of the traffic infraction means that you're part of this vehicle, which means that...
Right, but traffic infractions aren't crimes, and I'm not driving, so I didn't commit any infraction.
Are you wanted for anything?
No.
Do you have any drugs?
No.
That's
we're on our way to work.
That's all I'm worried about, man.
Yeah, I'm
catching bad guys.
I don't got anything. No, I don't got nothing like that.
All right, then why are you giving me such a hard time?
I'm not. You guys asked for ID. I said I'd rather not ID because I don't legally have to. That was all.
All right.
I'll give you my first name. My first name's Phil. That's all.
Phil. Deputy Gearin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Come on, deputy, give me that damn whatever.
Shouldn't even be able to get a ticket for that. That should just be like you have X amount of time to fix it.
Who has that discretion?
Yeah, it's grimy though. It should be like the first time. You should have like a week to fix it, or there should be some like buffer period. Tries to get me with the "did you ask permission to film me?" Nice try.
that. And here's your registration and insurance. All right, today I'm just giving you a warning for the brake lights.
Okay.
All right, just make sure you get them fixed.
Oh, I will. I appreciate it. I must have a short. I noticed one side's working, the other one's not.
I think it's connected to the blinker. It's messed up.
Yeah, it's probably a fuse or something. Not a huge deal.
How you doing, bud?
Let me put this
so I'm
back
just gonna-
on the side there.
I'm just going to let you
You don't
know,
have any guns or anything.
because I understand you're a civil rights
We're
activist,
just
right?
going
Yes,
to
sir.
work.
All right, cool. So you probably already know what I'm about to explain to you.
Maybe. It depends what you're about to explain.
All right. Basically, Terry versus Ohio. You know about that?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So basically, it just means that you're not in a traffic stop, but you're not yourself.
Oh, right.
Well,
yeah.
I know you're not. You're not.
So now it's this deputy's turn, I guess, to screw everything up. Because he says, you know what I'm about to read to you. Terry versus Ohio. In which we can control the movements of the people in the car. The problem is, there wasn't a car in Terry versus Ohio. So, he's trying to find case law that says they can control the movements of the people in the car. He should have used Arizona versus Johnson, and the other officer should have used Terry versus Ohio. I'm sorry, but the meter is up to 100. So you know what that means.
I know you're not. You're not. I mean, you're not trying to leave. I'm just saying you're not. You aren't. You know, we can request you give us your name and ID to try to identify you.
Right.
You know, you are allowed to refuse. Okay, it's not a crime to refuse, but we're still allowed to ask.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I just want to make sure you knew.
Yeah, I got no issues.
All right, Armin.
Yeah, have a good day.
Phil, right?
Yeah, Phil.
Please, Phil.
You too.
So here's a question put forth in Arizona versus Johnson. Do officers violate the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures when, after making a routine traffic stop, they search an individual who is consensually conversing with those officers? And the answer the Supreme Court of the United States came up with... Real quick, let's brush up on the Fourth Amendment before we talk about the elements of Arizona versus Johnson. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and or seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation. So, you cannot get a search warrant or a arrest warrant without probable cause, facts, evidence, not innuendo, not bias, not hearsay. Now the Johnson case. Lamont Johnson was riding in the backseat of a car when it was pulled over by the state police in Sugar Hill, Arizona. The officers had scanned the license of the car and found that it had mandatory insurance suspension. Although the stop was solely predicated on the suspended license, the officers began to question the car's occupants, including Johnson, about gang activity in the area, based on certain circumstantial evidence, such as Johnson's possession of a police scanner. The officers asked Johnson to exit the car so they could question him further. Although Johnson was free to stay in the car, he voluntarily exited, and a subsequent search of his person by the officers revealed a handgun and a small amount of marijuana. Based on the evidence obtained during this search, Johnson was convicted in Arizona State Court. Johnson argued that this evidence should have been suppressed because the officers did not have probable cause to search him at the time of his arrest, and therefore did so in a violation of his rights under the Fourth Amendment. The trial court denied Johnson's motion to suppress the evidence, so Johnson appealed to the Arizona Appellate Court, and the Appellate Court reversed the decision of the lower court. The Court of Appeals of Arizona agreed with Johnson and reversed his conviction and sentence. The court found that the officials had no reason to believe that Johnson was involved in any crime activity when he was searched. The officers requested that Johnson step out of the car to discuss gang activity, not because the officers feared for their safety. Thus, it was part of a consensual encounter between the officers and Johnson. Therefore, the court said the officers' subsequent search of Johnson was illegal and unconstitutional. But wait, just when you thought it was over, this case goes all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And what does the Supreme Court say? The United States Supreme Court held that Mr. Johnson's encounter with police officers was not consensual and therefore did not violate his Fourth Amendment protection against unreasonable search and seizure. The court reasoned that lawful traffic stops entail the temporary seizure of driver and passengers. That continues for the duration of the stop. Officers' inquiries into matters unrelated to the stop do not transform the event into a consensual encounter whereby the driver or passengers is free to go as he or she pleases. So there you go, guys. It's in black and white. If you are a passenger in a vehicle that's pulled over for a traffic infraction, law enforcement does have control over your movements. Now, if you believe you have an argument that disproves this, leave it in the comments section. It's a gentleman's argument, a gentleman's debate. Now, like I said in my first video, way back when, for the officers to pat you down, take you out of the car and pat you down, they have to satisfy two elements: that you're armed, but not only that you're armed, that you're dangerous, you're willing to use it against them. How hard is that? It's not hard. I believe you're armed by the way you moved. That's what they said to me. And they got me out of the car, and they patted me down, and then they searched my car. So, it's not very hard for them to get you out of the car and pat you down. You just need to be aware of your rights. My name is Disorderly Product News, wishing you and yours a very safe and happy rest of the work week. Good night.